Next, we got Bergeron and David Krejčí signing to the Boston Bruins. I mean, there's not much to say about Patrice Bergeron that we haven't already said, but for anyone who hasn't listened to previous episodes of our podcast, we're very big Patrice Bergeron fans, notwithstanding the fact that we are probably the most anti-Boston Bruins fans.
Yeah, we don't like Boston, but we have to, we gotta give credit where credit's due for a special player.
Patrice Bergeron is like a bottle of Brunello. Like, I know that's cliche, but he ages like fine wine. He's had one of the best years of his career last year, and then goes into a surgery that requires 6 months. Like, last year, he led both defensemen and forwards in Corsi for percentage, Fenwick for percentage, expected goals for percentage, and even high danger Corsi for percentage stats. Like, it's ridiculous. And by the way, he does all of this while still putting up, I think, 65 points in 73 games last year, and 25 of those were goals. I mean, it's crazy. We've talked about it too. The Bruins, with Patrice Bergeron on the ice this year, have had one of the best defensive years in like the last decade. Like, we talked about Patrice Bergeron in single season, 5-on-5 shots, 4 percentages, expected goals, 4 percentage, Corsi, Fenwick, 4 percentages, has had the best numbers, like literally not one of the best, the best out of any player from 2007 to 2022. Last year, it wasn't like he was 28 last year. What was he, 34, 35?
Yeah, something like that, like in his mid to late 30s.
A guy defensively that good on a 1-year deal probably deserves 6-something million, because we know that Phil Deneau got 5.5 for being worse defensively, for being younger and on term. You don't think if Patrice Bergeron goes to a random team and says, by the way, I do all this and I still put up 70, 75 points, give me $9.5 million for 1 year? Who's not taking that?
For sure.
Right? Taylor Hall got $8 million for 1 year. And then this guy goes to the Boston Bruins and says, yeah, just sign me at 2.5. I want to win.
Well, the thing is, it's 2.5, but there's bonuses that can get it up to 5.
Do those count to the cap, though?
If he hits them, they count. They count. But if so, it's weird. Like, you can technically go over the cap. It just gets charged to your cap next year. So if he's at 2.5 now and they're at the cap and he hits all his bonuses, they just get charged next year. So like, either way, they're going to be fine. But even if it's $5 million, even if he hits all of his bonuses, it's still one of the most like great value contracts in the league. And that's not really an exaggeration, I don't think.
It's the best value contract in the league, even though it's at $1 million. The guy is just clearly a captain's captain. Like, he's a player's player. Everybody loves him. He's a great guy. He wants to win. I know these are all cliches, but like a specific quote he said, he goes, like, this culture has been put in place in the Boston Bruins organization far before me. It's clear that the Boston Bruins are known to just be a winning organization, and players do what they have to do in order to win a cup. And I mean, he did it. $2.5 million for 1 year.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. That, compared to what we think he's worth over 1 year, that's a $7 million player that can go sign at the deadline now. I know that they're cap strapped, but assuming they weren't, he did that organization a huge favor.
Yeah. I don't think he was going to go to another team. I think this was one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'm a Bruin. I'll make it work money-wise. And, I mean, he's probably already made, I don't know, something I don't have his, like, exact career earnings in front of me, but he's made enough money where he's definitely one of the guys in the league who can afford to take a fat discount to stay with the team he wants to win with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I think there were rumors of him retiring. I think we both kind of knew that was never going to happen, even though people were saying, oh, it's a real possibility. It could happen. It's like, come on. He had the best season of his career, arguably, and he's going to retire? No way. I don't think he's ever going to do that. Like, these guys are just wired differently.
Especially with this team still having a chance to win. We'll talk about this soon. Like, I know a lot of guys are out, but this team on paper is still very, very good. It's just crazy to me that he got older. He got more injured. He clearly wasn't 100% last year because he just had a surgery that cost 6 months recovery. And he's playing in the best, like the most offensively gifted division in the NHL right now. And he has his best defensive year.
He's crazy.
I don't understand the explanation for that, but he's Patrice Bergeron. I mean,
that's the explanation. He's just special.
That's what he does. And I mean, now that he comes back, this organization is in a good chance to make the playoffs again. But before we go there, David Krejčí comes back. I think he played in Czech last year.
He was in the Czech last year,
He's come back. I mean, I don't know. What do you think about this deal?
Yeah, I mean, it's good depth for them. I don't know how much you can expect out of him because he's 37 or something like that now. Plus, he was in the Czech for the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
He had point a game in the Czech league, but I don't really know what that even means because there's no gauge for what that translates to because not many players come over from the Czech league. But in the years before, he had 44 points in 51 games, 43 and 61, and 73 and 81 up until 2 years ago. He's not a bad player. The problem is just how much has his break affected his game. Like, especially for a guy that old, you don't know if he can kind of come back. But he's been, every time they make a playoff run, they're like one of their leading point getters. He's just one of those guys who is kind of clutch and does what he needs to do. I don't think it hurts them. Long story short, I don't think they got worse by signing David Krejčí, and they signed him at what? I think with bonuses it can come up to $3 million.
Yeah, but so, I think right now it's at 1.
It's at 1. I think his bonuses are games played, and I think he gets $500K for making the playoffs. So if they make the playoffs and he plays, he's gonna hit them all. But even $3 million, if he's good, that's what you pay for a third line center these days anyway. So
he might even be the second line center. Who am I missing there? Is it Eric Haula?
They traded Haula this off for whatever reason.
Yeah,
I guess it's him and Charlie Coyle.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, he might play second line. Like we've talked about this a lot. The Boston Bruins' biggest problem last year is their lack of centerman depth. Like after Patrice Bergeron, it was Haula, and then you said Charlie Coyle, who both weren't anything special last year. After Bergeron, there's legitimately no one. Krejčí comes in, solves that problem for a low AAV. I mean, one could argue, like you said, he's old. But he's a model Boston Bruin. He knows what the organization expects, and somehow, some way, he comes clutch in the playoffs, like you said, and they're banking on that. I think, this might be a bit of a long shot, but maybe one of the reasons they signed him back too is that I heard that David Pastrnak was pretty pissed with the way that his contract was handled, and I imagine now that because Don Sweeney is trying to sign Pastrnak back, maybe he's trying to make up for what he did.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially with Pastrnak being like very vocal about the fact that he was pissed with how Bruce Cassidy left as well. And after Krejčí, in 3 to 4 years, maybe even 2, Marchand, Bergeron might be gone. This team is Charlie McAvoy and then nobody.
Yeah.
Don Sweeney's probably doing everything he can to sign Pasta, and then maybe this is a way to make that happen.
I think it helps. I think maybe it wasn't the whole reason, but that's a great point. If he's bringing one of his best friends back to the organization, even if it's for a year, you get him in a happy moment. He signs mid-season, and then he's locked up for a year. That's what it is.
That's what I mean. Like maybe now he's thinking, okay, maybe there's a chance I sign back. This organization's doing something that like they know that I value. Maybe they care about me. Yeah. Pastrnak is also from Czech, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then there you go. But we've talked a lot about these players. Now it comes down to the question: in the star-studded Atlantic, where do the Boston Bruins finish? Considering the injuries, considering everyone they signed back, considering that some teams have gone better in this division, I don't know what to make of this question.
I think they're going to be fighting for a wild card spot.
Oh, for sure.
I think they're going to be fighting for one. I don't think there's any guarantees because you said Bergeron's going to be out. McAvoy is also going to be out to start the season, and so is Marchand.
I think they all miss a third of the year.
Like that's a lot of games, and those are arguably your 3 best. I don't even think it's arguable.
It's inarguable.
I guess Pasta's really good, but I would probably say those 3 are the 3 most important.
Mm-hmm.
How do you even make up for that? Like, Pasternak's gonna have to score 50 goals in the first third of the season for them to not have a losing record.
Yeah.
But it's Boston. I'm not gonna bet against them because it's hard to do that. I think they're gonna be in a real tough position because, like you said, Detroit, Ottawa got better. Buffalo's probably gonna carry on some positive momentum from last season.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna be terrible. It's going to be tough for them. What do you think?
That's the problem is that there's a bunch of unbelievable teams in this division, and then the ones last year that weren't great now have something to prove. Like Detroit and Ottawa have a chip on their shoulder. Like you said.
Ottawa needs to kind of do well because they made all those moves, right?
Exactly, and like so did the Detroit Red Wings. Like they clearly are trying to build a model where they're trying to emerge from a rebuild. They're obviously in the middle of it, but pretty soon, like I think this is the time where Detroit can't be a bottom of the barrel team. No. Like they need to finish mid-pack. I think if they miss the playoffs next year by 10 points or like 5 points, that's a success in their books. Long story short is that they're going to be pissed off losing games, and like those are going to be big ones. Like Boston can't bank on beating Montreal. They can't bank on beating Ottawa, and they can't bank on beating Detroit. All the times they play them. Maybe the only bad team are the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, they're going to be the only bad team.
There's going to be not a single easy game. And if you miss these 3 top players for a third of the year, I don't know what to say. Like you said, the only saving grace here is that they are the Boston Bruins. If I'm Jim Montgomery, I'm going. That's Jim Montgomery, right? I'm going into the dressing room and just like praying to the hockey gods that they somehow find a way to play 500 hockey by Christmas.
Yeah, if they do that, then they're going to be rolling because If they go 500 with that team, it's gonna be like the Providence Bruins plus Pasternak
Yeah.
and their goalies.
If they find a way to do that, they hope that these guys come back healthy. They go on a run. They make a move at the deadline.
Yeah.
And we'll see. But if the Boston Bruins are like 10 games or 15 games under 500 by Christmas, I mean, it's not going to happen.
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. From an objective hockey fan, you'd like to see the Bruins in the playoffs because they bring a lot of energy. As a Leafs fan, I'd rather see any other team in the playoffs.
I want them. Give them to me.
Not again.
I want it
Not
so
again.
badly.
No more.
I would. Oh, if you could guarantee me that right now, I'd take it. That matchup.
Probably because they on paper they'd probably be the worst team in the playoffs.
Yes, but also like I want to slay our demon. Like I'm playing, but like I want the Leafs to slay their demons so badly, and then go win a cup.
We'll see.
Okay, if they play the Bruins this year and they beat them, they're winning the cup.
I mean, fine. If my grandma had wheels, she'd be a bicycle. But we'll see what happens.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All that momentum, they won't be stopped.
I agree. I think if the Leafs get out of the first round, they win a cup too. If they beat the Tampa Bay Lightning, I had said this during the first round. I thought they would have won the cup, and I mean, it seemed like that take kind of came to fruition by the fact that
Tampa made it.
Tampa made it, and they took the Colorado Avalanche to 6 games. And I mean, I don't know. I don't want to bring up past trauma.
Yeah, we won't talk about the Leafs. The Leafs haven't. We'll talk about them during training camp. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content. And find the link to our full podcast and all our socials in the description down below.
Also, don't forget to turn on those notifications to get live updates on new videos that we release.